we request our chief guest, as also our guest speaker, and all dignitaries, chairman trustee, his co-trustees, and all to grace the dais as we start our program for the day. A very, very warm welcome to chief guest, Wadia Dasturji, Keki Raoji, Agiary. Our guest speaker, Advocate Zarek Dastur, Chairman Trustee of the MJ Wadia Fire Temple Trust, Mr. Kersi Limatwala, and his co-trustees, Mrs. Feroza Khan and Mr. Hanoz Patel. Structured Religious Cause Director, Erva Dr. Ramya Karanjia. Our speakers, our participant speakers for the evening, Dr. Wispy Joki and Azmi Kasar. If you could raise the dais, please. A warm welcome to my SRC participants, my little family of SRC participants and our audience. A piety-filled Behram Roach. There, my know, to one and all. We start our program with a little monojat by Mrs. Haobi Karanjia, invoking blessings of Ashojar Thos the Pegambar. Thanks.
सुफीनो है समाविने मज़हबंदर फैलाविदीन ने अमर Avastano tidho bhante bulande chmati aksar huwa safar धरी सुंदर अशोजर दोस्त पैगंबर नबियों ना नबी अमर अशोजर दोस्त पैगंबर सदी पर गई सदी वह गई हमारी दीन अमर रही अचली कीर्ति वधती गई करी हमो तनो मन्ने जा नबी पाक पर कुर्बान भला बख्शो बख्शो जन्म ले दो जगह हंसता गुले गुलजार कया हंसता भया खुशनु खुद परवर अशोजर दोस्त पैगंबर नबीनो ना नबी अम्बर अशोजर दोस्त पैगंबर खलक ना रहनुमा राहबर अशोजर दोस्त पैगंबर नबीनो ना नबी
Religious course, the SRC enters its 19th year. It would be just perfect to thank two people who are largely responsible for the success of this course. Mr. Kersi Limatwala envisioned having us all under one roof. And ever Dr. Ramya Karanjia's undying zealous passion to spread religious education sees us all together month after month, year after year since the last 18 years. And this SRC teaches us that if we recite our prayers with proper pronunciation and understanding, and if we meditate upon our words and live the Zoroastrian prayers, helping mankind, we connect with God. So our SRC is in fact our first little baby step towards divine connection. May we request Chairman Trustee Mr. Kersi Limatwala to give us his take on this theme.
Respected Wadia Studio Sahib, Keki, Roji, Mirchirana, Mrs. Roshan, Roji, Edward Dr. Ramya Karanjia, Mrs. Howie Karanjia. I don't think we could have started our evening in a better way than the wonderful way in which you recite the monarchy. Mrs. Karanjia, Ramya's mother, was always here with us. Farzad, Ravji, who is also with us, our learned, intelligent, professional speakers, Advocate Edward, Zarek Dastur, Dr. Vispi Joki, and Advocate Azmin Kasad. My co-trustee, Anos Patel, and two pillars of all the functions that we organize, Roxanne and Jashan. I welcome you all to this Day Dada celebration this evening. And I'm particularly happy that we have in our midst our Wadia Dastuji Sahib, who is here for the first time after having taken his Gadi as the Wadia Dastuji. But his association with our Agiary goes decades back. 60 years, am I right? Dastuji Sahib? 64 years. When he performed a Nirangdi ceremony in this very Agiary. Dinia contractor's father's Nirangdin ceremony, which he had performed here. And I'm particularly happy that when we were having a massive renovation in this Agiary and we were restructuring the management and everything, he was one of the persons who helped us at that time, which was 20 years back, and also deputed his son Farzad as the assistant manager for some time in our Agiary. Edward Dr. Ramya Karanjia is one of us here. But if I may say, his scholarly presentation is like a transformer which brings high spiritual energy to the level of our subtle bodies. This evening, our theme is connecting with the divine. But who does not want to connect with the divine? More often than not, we want to connect when we are in trouble. But of course, we are not so ungrateful. We have the day Dada celebrations and Jashans to thank him for all his bounties. Although we all are more interested in the dinner after that than the other things. But in reality, if you really look, we are all connected with the divine. Materially, we are connected in the entire universe through the atoms, which is materially, and spiritually, we are connected through our soul. So the connection is already there. And if I may say, it is our ignorance that we feel deluded and disconnected. Then, if we are already connected, what is the problem? Why are we seeking connection? I can say one thing, that in this high tech world, the problem is it's a network issue. We cannot connect on the phone many a times, and we all are feeling that we are not connected because of a network issue. Now, if you remember, there is this mythical story of a musk deer who is intoxicated with the captivating aroma and is spending his entire life frantically and restlessly running in the jungle, searching the origin of the fragrance, only to discover in the final moments that the scent was within its own body. Ladies and gentlemen, we repeatedly quote the concluding para of Hosbam. Asha Vaista, Asha Saresta, Daresam Thava, Vairi Thava, Zamyama Hamem Thava, Kham. May I have a glimpse of thee? We are telling Dada or Master, may I have a glimpse of thee? May I be drawn nearer to thee? May I be united with thee? But first, we have to seek oneness with everything around in the world, both animate and inanimate, before we seek oneness with the divine. It is because of our hardened prejudices, perceptions. You may say we are imprisoned with our dogmas, opinions, conclusions. We are quick to be judgmental. So, what is needed is we need to be more of an observer, and then awareness will dawn. And then you will become calm, composed, receptive, and the network can improve. What is therefore required is a change from mundane human consciousness to higher spiritual consciousness. And this is not what I am saying. It is there in the Gathas. Zarathustra Sahib seeks two boons. In Aunavad Gatha 33:6, a vision of thee and a communion with thee. And then again, in Aunavad Gatha 28:5, he says that again want a vision. And how does he seek that vision? Through Vahumano, good mind, positive thoughts, and Asha for spiritual wealth of divine intelligence and wisdom. And then Finally, in the same Gatha, he says, he asks Sarosha for divine intuition to make the path clear. But that is not all. Together with that, we have one particular ha in the Gathas, which says in 51:20 that equally important is Armati Ameshastra, because it is through divine intelligence that we enter the portal of divine love. Because you cannot, I am repeating, you cannot experience oneness in this world without divine love. So if we can do all this, ladies and gentlemen, our network gets restored and we become reconnected. And before I take my seat, I would like to conclude with the satires which we have distributed. Ormuz Rose satires, where we pray, Avata Satyam va Zabayan va Khisinam Pahar Ga va Zaman. I worship and pray to you. I am of one accord with you everywhere and at all times. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dimakwala. According to Ergo Dr. Ramya Karanjia, we must have faith in God, faith in our own selves, and we must work very hard. No matter what work we do, we have to do it so beautifully well that that work becomes a piece of art, and that work is our connection, our dedication, our devotion to God and to our dear departed. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Ergo Dr. Ramya Karanjia, who lives with the maxim of do your best, do your 100% best and leave him the rest.
Roxanne, thanks a lot for that kind introduction. Manvant Wada Dasturji Sahib, Dasturji Kekashu, Rauji, Merji Rana Sahib, Chairman of the evening and our trust, our very dear Mr. Kersil Matwala, another trustee, Mr. Anosh Patel. We are all fortunate to have such people around who are so friendly that work becomes a joy. Advocate Erwat Zarek Dastur, who is a very dear friend also, and whom I have known since a long time, because his father served the boys Agiary, still serves, and my daddy also served the boys Agiary. So that's how we know each other since years. Dr. Vispi Jokhi, both Dadar Parsi colonites, and Advocate Miss Azmin Kasad. Mrs. Rauji, dear Farzad, and all other ladies and gentlemen. Dasturji Sahib Jashan kidu tare Afrin bani tema evan bolya hama zorbad dadar aur mazda rayoman khoreman hama zorbad amesha aspandar. એટલે મોહબેદ સાહેબો ને આપણો ધર્મ તો ઓલવેઝ દુઆ કર્યા જ કરે છે કે આપણે આખી દુનિયા સાથે, આખી જગત સાથે હમા જોરીથી રહીએ. Hamazori etle united in spiritual strength and energy. And that starts from Dada Rauramazda and reaches to all the creations. પણ આજે હમણાં 2 મહિનો ચાલે છે ને આપણો આજે ટોપિક છે કનેક્ટિંગ વિથ ધ ડિવાઇન or how to connect with the divine. Now, I have the good fortune of teaching 5-year-olds also. And the moment you ask them, where is God? Their answer is everywhere. Then some say, no, he is inside. Then some say, no, he is in the sky. But this idea is there that God is inside, outside, and everywhere. So when we say we have to connect with the divine, we have to first decide where to go. Inside, outside, upstairs, downstairs, that we have to first decide. When I was in school, we had a song which we used to sing in school. I tried to search for that song but could not find it. Since there are many seniors over here, perhaps you may be knowing. But that song goes like this. કોઈને મળ્યું હોય તો મોકલજો મારા સાહેબનું સરનામું ઘણા વખતથી શોધું છું હું સાહેબનું સરનામું. It's how it began, but I don't remember the rest of it. So સાહેબનું સરનામું આપણે બધા જ શોધીએ. સાહેબ એટલે the divine one. ને તેવનનું સરનામું મળે તો આપણે કનેક્ટ થઈએ. Otherwise, how do we connect with the divine? So the important thing is that સાહેબનું સરનામું શોધવાનું છે. Now, we all know that we all are divine. Inherently, we all are divine. But એવાને જેમ એનાલોજી આપી મિસ્ટર લિમતવાલાએ તેમ આપણે કનેક્ટ નથી કરી શકતા. ને કનેક્ટ કાંઈ નથી કરી શકતા because our battery level and the divine's battery level is very disparate. કંઈક થોડું ઘણું તો કનેક્શનને વાસ્તે લેવલ હોવું જોઈએ ને તે લેવલ ઉપર લાવવાનું is in our hands. How to bring our level up? God is very kind. He will accept us at any level that we are. But the higher we go in our own level, the better it is for us to connect. But one thing, as I always say, is always very clear. God wants to connect with us. It's not only that we want to connect with God. God also wants to connect with us. But the most important thing is that we have to take the first step. And then God will take several steps to come to us. So, once we take the first step, our connection with the divine starts. Now, our religion gives us the fourfold path in which we can connect with the divine. And it is very easy to remember this fourfold path because we say it in all our prayers. Yasnai cha, Vammai cha, Shnautrai cha, Prasastaye cha. So this fourfold path is the path which we can connect to divine. The first Yasnai cha is the spiritual way. It is the way like when we sit for prayers, when a Mohammed Sahib does a ritual, when we participate in a ritual, when we meditate. These are all spiritual ways to connect with the divine. That is Yasnai cha. This is a formal way of connecting with the divine. Then let us come to an informal, personal way, and that is Vammai cha. Vammai cha is the impersonal, personal way. And what is that? That is our love towards God, our devotion towards God, our adoration towards our God. So all these are things which are very personal, right from the heart. And for that, no schooling, no education is necessary. So there is something for everything to connect with God. The third is Shnautraicha. That is the active way, the practical way. How people work, help the world, help the underprivileged, help the students, help the poor, help the needy in a practical manner. Because by doing that, we are directly making God happy. Shnautra aure mazdao. Shnautra aure mazdao means, oh, aure mazdao, how can I make you happy? So this is the direct way, working with His creation. And again, Mr. Limatwala said, we are connected with everything, with spirit and with matter. And so, when we are helping others, in a way we are helping God, because God is also connected with everything. And the last, the fourth, the prasastayecha, is the knowledge way, the intellectual way. Now, everybody cannot be intellectual. We read books, we read heavy books sometimes, philosophical, scientific. We come in the class, we discuss, debate, philosophy, theology, what is agnostic, what is atheist, what is polytheist, what is this, that. There's an intellectual way of relating to God. Is God immanent? Is God transcendent? Is God personal? Is God impersonal? And there are ways and ways of philosophical schools of thought that takes us into this. It's very daunting. It's very daunting, but that is there. That way is also there, the intellectual path. Now, different people are geared to these four paths of connecting with the divine. You have to find out for yourself which path you are more geared to, but it is best that it is a approach of all the four paths together. So, Yasnaicha is the spiritual path. Again, very necessary are prayers. Vammaicha is the emotional path, the loving path, which is also very necessary. Love for God is very necessary. You can't just know God, and you have to love God. It's a two-way thing. You personally know God, and you know God formally. So, personal knowing of God is as important as formal knowing of God. And as again Mr. Limatwala said, he has said many things which I wanted to say, because we two think alike, I think, to a certain extent now, that finally everything is hamim twa hakma. We have to be one with God. So that love has to be there. Mara Kudaiji, Mara Dadaji, my God. Then being active in the world is also very necessary. You can't be just passive. Ek khunama besine banya karo, ek khunama besine dadaji ne sathe baat kariya karo. That is not enough. We have to be social. And finally, we have to intellectually understand our religion, lest somebody deceive us, lest somebody tempt us, lest somebody take us the way in which we are not supposed to go. So these are the four ways in which we can connect with God. So at the end, we have all to find our peace with God, whether it is formal or informal, whether it's outside or inside. But once you connect with God, your life will change. Many a times we say that pain, suffering comes. But in our school, we were taught a poem called Puli. And in that poem, we were told that pain and suffering that come sometimes, at that time, don't break your connection with God, because perhaps that is the pulley with which God is trying to draw you towards Him. So, as we just now said, we generally go to God only when we are sad. But it is not so. Going to God when we are happy is also like sharing with God. Like, we don't just go to God for pain because He solves problems. We go to Him because He is someone close. So something wonderful happens to you. At that time, it is as necessary for us to share things with God as we need to share with Him our sorrows. So, in a day-to-day way, if we take Dadar Aura Mazda Creator of Ramazda in our life, make him personal, then our journey in this life will become much more easier. Thank you very much. At the outset, I forgot to thank Roxanne and Darius, two of our pillars of our classes. So my apologies, but thank you all very much. As they say, last but not the least.
Thank you, Erva Dr. Ramya Karanchia. As we move on, a living example of always being connected to God is our chief guest today, who has performed 68 Nirangdin ceremonies, 5,000 Jashanis and 3,000 Vendirat ceremonies. Vada Dastuji Keki Rauji Merji Rana is the 18th High Priest of our sacred Navsari artist Behram, and before his appointment in 2019 as Vadata Suji, he served as Pantaki of Kamabad Agiary since 1987, and he continues this, being the longest serving Dastuji of this Agiary. Now, with a round of applause, you all have anyway said my last statement. We welcome Vada Dasturji, Keki Rauji, Merji Rana.
For those who are at the Jashan, you have observed, he was sitting down and performing the Jashan. These days, many Rastojis find it difficult to sit on the ground and use a chair. But at 81,
Thank you, sir.
માનવંતા લીમટવાળા સાહેબ, અનોજ પટેલ તેમજ સર્વે સાહેબો, ટ્રસ્ટી સાહેબો, જૈવિક દસ્તુર અને જે કંઈ અને ખરા તો એડવાડ ડૉક્ટર રામિયાર સાહેબ તથા સર્વે ટ્રસ્ટી સાહેબો, આ અમે જે કામ કીધું તેમ જેમ તમે લોકો જે રીતે કામ કરો તેમ અમે આવી રીતે આ કામ કરી શકીએ. પહેલું છે અહીંયાની કડી મારી 64, મેં એવન સાહેબે કહ્યું તેમ 64 વર્ષ પહેલાં મેં દિન્યા કોન્ટ્રાક્ટરના બાવાજીની નિરંગીની ક્રિયા આજે બી મને યાદ છે. તે અઢીબેસ મહિનોને ગોવાટ રોજે કીધી હતી. તે પછીથી આ હમણાં 28 વર્ષ પહેલાં જ્યારે નવું અગિયારીની સ્થાપના થઈ તે વખતે આ ગુંબજ ઈજવાનું આવ્યું. તે વખતે ઝરીર ભાતેના તથા લીમટવાલા સાહેબોએ મને કહ્યું કે તમે એડવર્ડ કેસી ભાડા હમણાંના પંથકી સાહેબ સાથે જરા એટલું એ કામ કરી આપો. તો મેં અત્યારે તે વખતે પહેલે છે તે દાદગા સાહેબમાં બી તે કામ કીધું અને પછીથી ગુંબજમાં વનીદાન યજસને એવી બધી ક્રિયાઓ કીધી. નવસારીમાં આજે 65 વર્ષ થયા. અમે લોકોએ જે ગુંબજ ઈજ્યો તે આજે પણ અમે લોકોએ ખસાતા નથી. કારણ જે બને ત્યાં સુધી આપણે જે ગુંબજ ઈજ્યો હોય અને જ્યાં પરસા સાહેબને બિરાજમાન કર્યા હોય ત્યાંથી એવનને ખસાડવા નહીં. કારણ જે એવનના કસ તૂટી જાય, પરંતુ કોઈ બાજુ ખસાડાય પણ બને ત્યાં સુધી ખસાડવા નહીં. આજે હું થોડું આતસની ઉપર 5-10 મિનિટ બોલાશે, પણ તેની ઉપર આજે જે ખરો એ મહિમા છે તે જશનને લગતો છે. 2 મહિનાના જશન, 2 એટલે દાદા ઓર્મસના જશનમાં આજે લોકો મુંબઈમાં દરેક કંપનીઓમાં, પોતાના ઘરોમાં તેમજ ઓફિસોમાં થેન્ક્સ ગિવિંગ તરીકે જશન કરાવે. આજે જશન શાને માટે કરીએ કે આપણે દાદા ઓર્મસનો આભાર માનીએ કે તમે અમને આટલી જગ્યા વાપરવા આપી, કે આટલી મહેરબાની કીધી, તે બદલ અમે જશન કર્યું. જશન જ્યારે બી આપણે કરવું હોય, જ્યારે નવું ઘર લેવું હોય ત્યારે બી આપણે જશનની ક્રિયા કરી, દાદા ઓર્મસ અને અમે સાસ બંધાન અને એનો કરદો કરીને આપણે જશનની ક્રિયા કરી. તે આપણે પાછું ઘર કરી નાખવું હોય તો તે વખતે બી આપણે જશનની ક્રિયા કરાવવી જોઈએ અને કરવી જોઈએ. આજે ગંબારને આપણે જે કહીએ તે વર્ષના 6 ગંબાર આવે. 6 ગંબારમાં પહેલો મહિડ્યો જરમ ગંબાર આવે, જે અધિવેશ મહિનો અને 10મે રોજ સુધી તે ગંબારના દિવસ મહિડ્યો જરમ ગંબાર તરીકે ઓળખાય. પછીથી મહિડ્યો સેમ ગંબાર આવે, તે બી અધિવેશ મહિનો અને 10મે રોજ સુધી તેને બી આપણે કરીએ. અને તેમાં અમારે ત્યાં બધા, તેમાં નવસારીમાં એ બાજુ તો ખાસ કરીને એ ગંબાના દિવસોમાં મોલ્લેના ગંબારો થાય અને ત્યાં એક સુપરે ખાનું થાય. પછીથી 35 ગંબાર આવે, તે આસ્થાથી અનેરાન રોજ સુધી, સરોવર મહિનાને આસ્થાથી અનેરાન રોજ સુધી આવે. અને પછી 8 ગંબાર આવે, તે બી સરોવર મહિનો ને આસ્થાથી અનેરાન રોજ સુધીના 5 દિવસોમાં થાય. અને હમણાં જે આ છેલ્લો ગંબાર મહિયારમ ગંબાર છે તે આપણે મહેરથી બહેરામ રોજ સુધી આપણે કરીએ. અને તેમાં દરેકે દરેક આપણા જરતોસ્તીઓ પોતે મોબેજ સાહેબો પાસે જશન કરાવે. પહેલે તો અમારા નવસારીમાં 4 મોબેડો સિવાય જશનની ક્રિયા થતી નહીં હતી, પરંતુ મુંબઈથી પછી થોડા આવવા લાગ્યા અને નવસારીમાં રહેવા લાગ્યા. અને પછીથી આજે 2 મોબેજ સાહેબોની જશનની ક્રિયા કરી. એક મોબેજ તો દસ્તુરજી તરીકે શરૂઆત કરે અને બીજો આતરવક્ષી તરીકે આતસની પાસવાની કરે, અને એની ઉપર આતસને આપણે માન આપીએ, જે આપણે દાદા ઓર્મસને આતસનો પુત્ર ગણીએ છીએ. આતસની શોધ ઓસંગ પાતશાહે કીધી હતી. એને એક મોટો અસદા જોયો અને તે એમની ઉપર એટેક કરતો હતો, તો એમને મોટો પથ્થર લઈને તે અસદાને મારવા ગયો, તો તે ખસી ગયો અને બીજા સાથે ચકમક થઈ અને તેમાંથી સ્પાર્ક નીકળ્યો. અને પછીથી આતસની શોધ આપણે ધીરે ધીરે કરતા થયા. અડસી બાબરખાન અને બધા સાહેબોએ આ જે બી ઈરાનમાં આજે કંઈ પણ લડાઈ જીતે કે તરત જ આતસ કદે સ્થાપવામાં આવતા. અને છેલ્લે યઝદેસર સૈદિયાના વખતમાં આપણે જ્યારે ઈરાન છોડવું પડ્યું ત્યારે મોબેજ સાહેબોએ, દસ્તુર સાહેબોએ, નારિયો સંઘ ધવલ સાહેબોએ કહ્યું કે હવે આપણે અહીંયાથી ઉઠી જવું જ પડશે. તો આપણે ધીરે ધીરે સંજાન તરફ જતા થયા. અને સંજાન આવતા એટલું ભયંકર તોફાન થયું, તો તે વખતના ખલાસીઓ, માછીઓ કે સાહેબો, હવે તમે તમારા ભગવાનને યાદ કરી લો, હવે તમે કદી બી બચી શકશો નહીં, એવું આ ભયંકર તોફાન છે. તો આપણા નૈર્યો સંઘ ધવલ સાહેબે કહ્યું કે હું આપણે માનતા માનીએ કે આપણે જો આ એ કરી જશું અને આ તોફાન પાસ કરી જશું તો આપણે સંજાનમાં એક આતસ બહેરામ આતસ કદે સ્થાપશું. અને કુદરતની મહેરબાનીથી આને તે પાસ કરી ગયા. ત્યાંના જાડીરાના સાથે થોડી ઘણી વાતચીત થઈ અને આપુને એમને જગ્યા રહેવાની આપી. જાડીરાના પાસે આપણે 5 માઇલ જેટલો લાંબો એ જગ્યા માગી કે અમારે અમારા આતસ બહેરામને સ્થાપવા છે, તો એમને તરત જ આપણને જગ્યા આપી. પરંતુ આતસ બહેરામ સ્થાપવા કેમ? આતસ બહેરામ સ્થાપવાને માટે વરસિયાજી જોઈએ, હોમસલી જોઈએ, બધી એવી અમુક એનો આલાત જોઈએ. તે તો આપણે કંઈ લાવેલા હતા જ નહીં, કારણ કે આપણી પાસે એવું કંઈ ખ્યાલ બી નહીં હતો કે આપણે કંઈ કરશું. તો પાછા નૈયો સંઘ ધવલ સાહેબો મોટા વિદ્વાન 2 દસ્તુરોને ઈરાન મોકલ્યા. ઈરાનમાં એ બધી વસ્તુઓ થતી હતી અને ઈરાનના મોબેજ સાહેબોએ આપણા આ દસ્તુર સાહેબોને બરસનું આપીને પાછા આલાત લઈને વહન માર્ગે એ થયા. આપણે દરિયા માર્ગે આવતા નહીં હતા. પહેલે તો દરિયા માર્ગે આવતા હોય તો તેનું બરસનું બી રદ થતું હતું. હવે બધા આવછાવ કરે છે. એટલે શાને માટે કે આપણે ત્યાં પેશાબ પાણી એવું બધું કરીએ તો તે આપણે માટે તે નહીં ચાલે. અને પછી તે સાહેબો આવ્યા અને આતશ બહેરામ સ્થાપ્યા. આતશ બહેરામ સ્થાપવાના માટે 16 જગ્યાએથી આતશ લેવા પડે અને તેની ઉપર દરેકે દરેક ક્રિયાઓ કરવી પડે. અને તેમાંથી 15મો આતશ વીજળીનો આતશ લેવાનો. તે પહાડ પર જઈને આપણે જવું પડે અને ત્યાં ઊભા રહે અને જ્યાં સુધી વીજળી પડે ત્યાં સુધી આપણે તે બેસી રહેવું પડે અને વીજળીનો આતશ લઈને આપણે આવીએ. અને 16મો આતશ એકદમ પરેશગાર ને એવા કોઈ આપણા જટોસ્તીને ત્યાંથી લઈ એવા 16 આતશને એકઠા કરી દરેકે દારકની ઉપર જુદી જુદી સરોસ વનીદાતની યજસને વનીદારો કરી અને પછીથી આપણે તે આતશ બહેરામ સ્થાપીએ. અને એમ પ્રમાણે આપણે સંજાનમાં આતશ બહેરામ સ્થાપ્યું. આતશ બહેરામ તો સ્થાપ્યું, પણ પછીથી તેના લૂંટારાઓ મોહમ્મદ એને બધા હવે આવીને જ્યારે આપની ઉપર હુમલો કીધો ત્યારે આપણે પહાડો પર જઈને જવું પડ્યું. પછીથી ધીરે ધીરે કરીને આપણે નવસારી આવ્યા. નવસારીનું પહેલું નામ નાગઘર હતું, પરંતુ ઈરાનમાં સારી નામનું શહેર છે. તેની એટમોસ્ફિયર આબોહવા નવસારીના જેવી હતી. તેથી નવું સારી કરીને નવસારીનું નામ નવસારી પડ્યું. અને ત્યાં જ આપણે જે આતશ બહેરામ 350 લગભગ 300 થી 350 વર્ષ સુધી આપણે તે આતશ બહેરામ આપણા નવસારીમાં રહ્યા. પછીથી આપણે જાણીએ કે ત્યાંના મોબેજ સાહેબોને તકલીફો પડી પૈસા ટકાની. તો પેલા આતશ બહેરામમાં જાવ કરે, પેલો પંથકનું એ કરવા કરે કરીને અંદર મોબેજ સાહેબોની ખટપટ થઈ. તો સંજાનને લગતા મોબેજ સાહેબોએ કહ્યું કે આપણે જ્યારે બીજી બાજુ જઈએ અને ત્યાં આપણે આ આતશ પાતશાહને લઈ જઈએ. તો તે જતાં જતાં 2 વર્ષ વલસાડમાં રહ્યા અને વલસાડ પછી તે આજે પણ ઈરાન શાહ આપણે જે જઈએ તે ઉદવાડામાં સ્થાયી થયા. આજે બી ઈરાન શાહના આશીષ આપની ઉપર રહે છે. આજે આપણે એટલું કરીએ કે ઈરાન શાહ આપને આશીષ આપે અને જલહલ આવે. આ જે મને માથે કહ્યું તે મેં જે 22 સમાયસ કીધી, એ 22 સમાયસ એટલે શું? એટલે ઓરમજ, તીર યઝદ, ખોરશેદ યઝદ ને મોર યઝદ એવા 4 સાહેબો રોજના અમકારા. તે દરેકની 144 ઇજસની બધું મળીને કરવાની. એવી કરતાં દરેકના 12 વનીદાર 12 ઇજસની ને 144 ઇજસની કરવાની. એવી 12 ફરેસ્તાઓની ઇજસની કરવાની. હવે તમે વિચાર કરો કે અમે લોકોએ તે પ્રમાણે આ બધી અમાયસની ક્રિયા કીધી છે. તેમાં કેટલા હજારો યજસની અને વનીદારોની ક્રિયા થાય. આ કંઈ ખાલી આમ તો નામનું 22 અમાયસ કરીને બોલીએ, પણ તેની હજારો ઇજસની કરીને તે અમાયસની ઇજસની કરવાની. કે મારા ફાધર જે નવસારીની અગિયારના પંથકી હતા, તે દર 2 મહિનામાં એમ કહેશ કે ડેકારી એટલે જશન એવું બી થાય કે મોબેજ સાહેબોને કંઈ કામ મળે અને 2 બેકારી એટલે 2 મહિનામાં કંઈ કામ નહીં મળે. તો તે મારા ફાધર 2 મહિનામાં બેદીન સાહેબો પાસે અમાયસો કરાવતા હતા અને અમે લોકો તે એકને માટે અમારે 144 ઇજસની કરવી પડે. એવી 12 ફરેસ્તાઓને માટે તમે તેના કાઉન્ટ કરો તો કેટલી હજારો ઇજસની થાય. એવી રીતે અમે લોકો જે આતશબાજીની એક ક્રિયા કરતા હતા. આજે જે કોઈ બી શખ્સ પ્રમાણિકપણે આતશબાજી આગળ સુખદની સલી અને સુકી કાથી લઈ જાય તેને આતશબાજી ડુબાડે તે તારે ત્યાં સુખી ઈમાનદાર અને બુદ્ધિવાન ફરજનની આમદ પહોંચે. આજે આતશબાજીથી જ આજે દાદા ઓરમતના આપણે જે આતશબાજીને જે પુત્ર ગણ્યો છે તે આતશબાજીને આપણે ખરેખર નમન કરીએ છીએ. અને આજે જે જશનની ક્રિયા કીધી તે આપણે આતશબાજીની દુઆથી જ આપણે આજે ટકી રહ્યા છીએ. વતન અને ધર્મ ખાતર સદા દેજો જાન, વતન અને ધર્મ ખાતર સદા દેજો જાન, સદા રહેજો આતશના પાસમાન. આતશથી કોઈ ચીજ આલા નથી, આતશ વિના બોલબાલા નથી. આતશ વિના જગ અંધકાર, આતશ કરશે સંકટ નિવાર. સરને ઝુકાવો, સરને ઝુકાવો, સૌ જગ દોસ્તી આન, આતશ કરશે રોશન જહાન. યથા જમિયાન યથા અફરીના.
Just give me the mic. Thank you, Wadia Dasturji Sahib. If we talk of spirituality, can science be very far? Spirituality and science are parallel and they complement each other. With a prayer on his lips and a scalpel in his hand, we have an orthopedic surgeon who cures us, and when our groan turns into a smile, his connection is made with divinity. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Dr. Wispy Joki, orthopedic surgeon who brings about a perfect amalgamation of science and spirituality.
Dasturji, sorry. This is working.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, Dasturji, Rauji, Eki Rauji, Mejirana, K.C. Limatwala, Edward Ramyar Karanjia, trustees, dignitaries on the dais, my friends. I really got this invitation to speak on this subject a month back, and I was very hesitant to speak to this gathering because I thought that I was not really qualified to speak on this. Having said that, I think I went out of my comfort zone to talk to you, and after hearing all the people speaking, I feel that probably I don't have much to contribute. However, since I have prepared a speech and I have prepared something, I will at least read it out to you and make you feel, at least, I mean, I am more like you, more like the common person who does not have the erudition or the qualification to speak on this subject. But then when you speak on this subject, we start with the basic definition, what according to me is divine. Often we use in common parlance divine as a noun. Oh, he's a divine object, he's a divine person. But when we talk of divine, we are talking of something beyond the physical existence. The purpose of existence of every person in this life is to find eternal happiness. But if we live without connecting with what we get is not eternal happiness, but we get passing pleasure. So what we get basically is passing pleasure in the sense that we are, and when we are gratified, we desire something, we get something, we are lulled into a sense of complacency and think that is life, nothing more is required. But very soon we realize that all these things come and go. When we are happy, we are ecstatic. When we have some sort of misfortune, we go into a despair. and we are like swinging like a yo-yo between happiness and despair, not wanting, not knowing what to do. And at this stage, we start thinking of connecting with the divine, and then we go to a teacher, we go to prayers, we go to religion, and we want to connect. However, even when we start going to a prayer and religion, the connection doesn't occur very easily or automatically, because often we are seeking a person who is connected and who can teach us. And often we don't find that so easily. And more importantly, all the time we think of the divine as something which is outside us. And as some of the speakers already spoke, the divine is within us. So having said all this, I think there is no one exclusive prescribed path or method, and this quest for connecting the divine should be discovered by every individual in his own way. So I will just talk about myself and what I do in a practical way. What I think works in the majority of cases in mine is as follows. The cornerstone of this connection is to meditate daily. It is almost like charging your battery of consciousness. Meditation, which works for me, works for other people in different ways. For me, what works is memorizing spiritual passages from all kinds of religions, not necessarily only the Zoroastrian religion. These passages are memorized by me. I recite them quietly in a corner, sitting for half an hour, and I concentrate on each word. It's difficult for me to recite passages which I don't know the meaning of, so therefore I take a translation. I'm being very honest here. And when that translation occurs, one starts wondering, I'm just speaking something I wrote, does it really help? But slowly but surely, when you do it every day for about 20-25 minutes, it's like sitting and charging your battery for the day. This analogy with the phone has been repeated again and again, and charge is being repeated again, but that's what we relate to. And those things which are going into our consciousness, these words of scriptures and everything that we are speaking to ourselves, they come into force when you are dealing with situations every day. So in everyday life, when we deal with a difficult situation, some of the words of those passages come into your consciousness, and your action and reaction to a situation changes gradually. So maybe when you were not connecting, your action and reaction was different. Say after you start connecting, this reaction starts changing and you gradually are transforming as a person. Having done this supercharge, is that enough? Generally, the battery drains off because we are distracted. Every day we are finding people around us. We get into our daily life, and when the mundane of life comes in, then we start forgetting about whatever we have learned in the morning, and therefore a little bit of recharging is required. So using a kind of a mantra or something like a small chant helps. And for me, the Parsi common chant, Manashni, Gavashni, Kunashni, Humukta, Hukta, Urvashta, that helps. So I go on thinking of that and I say, okay, fine, I'm going off my track, recharge, that's the way it is. Now, what all this does, ultimately both these actions are leading to one simple thing. We are living in a very fast world. We are rushing from one place to another. And I think both these things, the meditation in the morning and this recharge in the middle, helps me to slow down, helps me to concentrate on the task which is in front of me, and benefits all the actions and everything that I do. This is the simple way of slowing down, doing one thing at a time, concentrating. Next thing that I always urge people to do, and I think I do for myself also, is that we are surrounded by a lot of sensory inputs which are very distracting, and controlling the mind and controlling the senses is something which I feel is very, very important if you wish to connect to the divine. And when I talk of controlling those senses, I'm not saying that we should live the life of a hermit or an ascetic, but whenever we enjoy something, we should enjoy with temperance. Loud music, dazzling lights, spicy food, violent visuals, vulgarity, gluttony, all these need to be eliminated in our life if we want to connect to the divine. This is my fervent plea. The next important step in connecting to the divine is to live a selfless life. Slowly but surely, we must put others before self. In all our daily life, we are all the time in conflict. Sometimes someone disagrees. I want this, but I want something else. Sometimes step back and say, okay, whatever you want, after you. So a simple thing is live selflessly, just put others before yourself. It helps to connect to the divine. And as Edward Ramya Karanjia said, that I believe in reading a lot. I read a lot of scriptures, I read a lot of script and lot of books. So knowledge really helps. And reading books every day, some form of scriptural reading of any kind, is very important if you want to really give a scientific basis to your connection. Besides this, I think keeping company of a group like yours, I joined the structural religious course because when I read the word in the advertisement, structured and religion, so I wanted a structure. A person with a scientific bent of mind is not likely to accept just a simple exhortation, blindly believe, do whatever is told to you. I don't like that. I want some structure, and I would complement this class because what is happening is not only are we just given pamphlets to read, but when we go back, the meaning of every word is explained, and the basis of that and the discussion makes for this connection. So, as a Zoroastrian group, I am ready to admit that I am not purely reading Zoroastrian scriptures. I read other scriptures also because I believe that there is a lot of knowledge and lot of things everywhere, and there is no harm in reading other scriptures. This is what works for me, but everyone have different ways of connecting. I have no problem with that. According to the divine is enshrined in all of God's creations universally, and that is the supreme reality. As I talk, I see the divine in all of you, which I must try and connect with you. But in life, broadly speaking, human relations, and in human relations, we come across different kind of people. So I would broadly categorize most people into 4 kinds of persons we meet in our daily life. The first are the people for whom we feel instant respect and friendship in the nature of spiritual persons which are worthy of association, with whom we become instant friends and we like to associate with them. The second kind of person we meet are the persons who are suffering and who deserve genuine compassion. When we connect with them, we need to connect and help them without making them feel that we are doing any favor to them. The help we give must be subtle, genuine, and without a transactional approach. The third type of people we meet are our peers and our competitors. So typically when someone is competing with you, you feel jealous of them and you are worried that he'll go ahead. But celebrating the success of my competitor as my own success, enjoying them and cooperating with them is the way to connect with them. And the last kind of persons are the persons who hate us or who are purposely hurting us. And sometimes we come across such people. And when we come across such people, our connection comes from genuine unconditional forgiveness, understanding that there is some compulsion which is making them behave in the manner in which they do. And this way we connect with the divine in them. I don't have to actually seek them out. I don't have to go away from them. But I have to feel for them and understand them. And when I send positive vibes to such persons, I often find that such persons also transform and return back goodness back to me. So this is the way I look at this kind of transaction. I'm just talking very practically. I'm not talking of religion. I'm not talking of so much of this thing. I'm just being a practical person. This is the way I do it. Another thing that I always feel that in our day-to-day life, we forget the wonder of this universe and the beauty of the world, the beauty of our body, the beauty of all the things that we see, and how it functions, how it nurtures life, which is nothing short of miraculous. So I consider my consciousness as a part of this divinity, and I feel a sense of wonder and I feel a sense of curiosity. This sense of wonder and curiosity is also my way of connecting with the divine. Now, having said all this, is connecting with the divine easy? No, I don't think it is. It is, I can say it is very easy or it is very difficult, either way. You can look at it in both ways. Is it automatic? No. The answer is no, but persistent effort slowly and surely helps. And what I have set out to you is the simple, small things that I try to do in life, which helps me to connect with the divine. I know I don't think I have been able to, speak with the erudition and the knowledge which all the other speakers were spoken. But I just want to end by saying this is a very simple, straight path that I want to follow. My heart follows this path, and I think I try and live this kind of life, and that way I connect. So I think ultimately we have to connect with the divine self, the self spelled with a capital S, and subdue the other self, which is spelled with a small s. So remove the small s and go to the capital S and connect with the real self which is within you. And that universal self is the consciousness, the supreme power, which is there in each one of us, in all of God's creation and everywhere. I believe in reincarnation, which I think in this class, there's a bit of disagreement. And having talked of that belief in reincarnation, I feel it gives me an opportunity to go on trying again and again. Maybe in this birth, maybe in the next birth, I'll go on trying. I'm sorry if I've offended anybody by anything that I spoke, but this is my humbly connect with the divine practically in life, daily. And I think with these words, I end my small talk.
Thank you, Dr. Vispi. We now have a monajat by our very own course participants. They have learnt this under the tutelage of Mr. Viraf Darawala. So we have Mrs. Nilufa Dastur. Nilufa Katrak has come. Nilufa Katrak, Ashish and Azmin Kasab.
उदागर उदावर ओ परवरदिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार। उदागर उदावर ओ परवरदिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार। उदागर उदावर ओ परवरदिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार। आजागे छे सौनो तू एकलो आधार, तू ज्ञानी तू दानी दयानो भंडार। आजागे छे सौनो तू एकलो आधार, तू ज्ञानी तू दानी दयानो भंडार। उजागर उजावर ओ परवरदिगार, वर्डिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार। जरथोस पैगंबर हम माटे दिधा, जने राहने की न खुल्ला किधा।
जरथोस पैगंबर हम माटे दिधा,
जने राहने की न खुल्ला किधा। उमत हुखत पुरस्तानु ज्ञान, दिधु हमने पैगंबरे महान।
उमत हुखत पुरस्तानु ज्ञान, दिधु हमने पैगंबरे महान। ओ दातर ओ दावर ओ परवरदिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार। हवा पानी आतश रोशन राखजे, एनी आराधना करवा शक्ति आपजे। हवा पानी आतश रोशन राखजे, एनी आराधना करवा शक्ति आपजे। रहे तारी माया ने बेरहम पर, सदा रास रस्ते दुरवजे परवर। रहे तारी माया ने बेरहम पर, सदा रास रस्ते दुरवजे परवर। ओ दातर ओ दावर ओ परवरदिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार। आजे जेम उठाड़ो ते वहली सवार, काले भी जगाड़जे ओ परवरदिगार। आजे जेम उठाड़ो ते वहली सवार, काले भी जगाड़जे ओ परवरदिगार। उठी पाक थईने हूँ बंदगी करूं, अशो तुझ नामनी याद हइये धरूं। उठी पाक थईने हूँ बंदगी करूं, अशो तुझ नामनी याद हइये धरूं। ओ दातर ओ दावर ओ परवरदिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार। आज आगे छे सौनो तू एकलो आधार, तू ज्ञानी दयानो भंडार। ओ दातर ओ दावर ओ परवरदिगार, नमन हो जो तुझने हजारों हजार।
Thank you, singer participants, and thank you, Mr. Viraf Daruwala, for teaching us Monajats month after month and reviving the ancient tradition of Parsi songs. As we move on, from the beginning, if a child is taught to become diligently focused absolutely humble, and is always guided by the beacon light of his parents, especially his mother, who tells him to stand for truth no matter what. The end result is a human being who is not just career conscious, but he is compassionate and he is a true Zoroastrian. Advocate Zerik Dastur is par excellence in his legal profession, but as president of WZCC India region, he has taken even that to a different level with his youth capability building program, problem solving program, and leadership programs. This is his way of giving back to the community what God has given us. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Zerik Dastur for us.
Respected Wadia Dasturji Sahib, respected Edward Ramyar Karanja, Chairman Mr. K.C. Lamatwala, Mr. Hanos Patel, and fellows, dignitaries on the dais, my fellow Parsi Irani Zoroastrians. Today when I entered this hall, Ms. Roxanne approached me and told me that you've forgotten to send me your profile. So what I did is I called your mother and I spoke to her generally about things which I can talk about which are not generally publicly known. So I was in a kind of a suspense as to what is it that my mother has told her that she's going to reveal today. And with this introduction, I would like to thank her for a wonderful introduction which she gave. Ladies and gentlemen, talking about this discussion on connecting with the divine. Every moment since I've entered here today, around 6 o'clock at the hall where the Jashan was being performed, till this very moment that I'm speaking here, each and every moment has been an experience connecting with the divine. As I entered the hall where the Jashan was being performed, we saw a vibrant fire which in that sense instilled all of us with a kind of a divine energy. And we saw the passion with which Dasturji Sahib was praying and performing this ceremony. That itself was a wonderful charged atmosphere which in itself results in connecting with the divine. In law, there is a saying, there's a Latin maxim which they use. It's called res ipsa loquitur, which means thing speaks for itself. You don't need any further explanation. And when I entered here, when I see all of you gathered here today in this august audience, I feel that that maxim leaves itself out and thing speaks for itself. And we have all today connected with the divine, experiencing the Jashan and hearing this erudite speakers talk about the divine today. Our religion, our prayers are based on the concept of Stauta Yasna. What does it mean? It means that prayers have a vibrationary effect. And when you pray with the right mindset, you are emitting those thought forces which in that sense match with the divine environment which is there and create a very powerful combination. Our prayers, as you all know, are modeled on various elements of nature. So, for example, a great advantage of memorizing certain prayers is that you can always visualize and connect with the divine entity with respect to which the prayer is being offered. For instance, if you're praying the Khorshid Niyas or the Meher Niyas, and you connect yourself with the sun, the rays of the sun, if you feel that energy, that really creates a profound impact and delivers the result the prayer is supposed to deliver, because you are connecting your mental force with the vibrationary power of the mantra which you are reciting. It may not necessarily translate to any literal interpretation, but it's the power of the vibrations that carries forward and presents a very powerful impact. When I was asked to speak about this topic about connecting with the divine, I thought of perhaps narrating my own experience. I have been born and brought up in the vicinity of the Boys Fire Temple in Tardev. Many of you who have been there would have experienced that this fire temple does not have any electricity. So, if you go there in the night, it creates a wonderful impression when you go there. It feels like you are in a different time zone because there is no electricity. Your path is lit up by small, small divas. And when you enter the main hall, which is the Qibla, if you enter around 6:45, 7 in the evening, it's quite dark out there, the fire is a dim glow. And then the Mobid Sahib, he enters the Qibla, he puts the machi, and then you see that fire, which is a dim glow, convert itself into a vibrant ball of energy, and that dark room is completely lit up with the energy of the divine fire. And that itself is an amazing, enriching experience. So I always thought as to when is it that I myself would be able to enter the Qibla, perform the machi, perform the boy ceremony myself. I had always finished my Nawar ceremony when I was a child. But unfortunately, at that time, I had not completed my Martab ceremony. As a result of which, of course, I could not enter into the Qibla. So I was always waiting for an opportunity that would arise, which would enable me to complete the Martab ceremony. And that opportunity came during the COVID-19 lockdown around 2021, where I approached my mentor, Dasturji Aspandya Dadachandji, and I spoke to him about this just a few years ago. And he said, absolutely fine, Martab can be performed at any age. And we decided to undergo that ceremony in 2021. It was in that sense a wonderful experience because it was the COVID-19 lockdown and I was the only one who was in the fire temple, staying at the fire temple. And I had Edward Dadachandji at my disposal throughout the day to speak about various experiences of his because he himself, as many of you would know, what a kind of a religious scholar he was. And undergoing those 10 days of Martab ceremony is in itself a divine experience connecting with the divine. You are completely isolated. There are no mobile phones. There is no contact, physical contact with anyone. You sleep on the floor. And before eating anything, after coming from the washroom, you perform various ceremonies, various baths. So it is in that sense a complete cleansing and enriching experience. I remember sleeping in the hall in the night. I was completely alone in the fire temple. And when the Dasturji would enter and around 1:30 and give the boys ceremony, and you could hear that you are in the presence of the divine abode. And many a times while you are sleeping in the night, you would suddenly find the fragrance of the sukkar. And it itself was a wonderful experience because you knew that you are part of something special. On the day I completed my Martab ceremony, Edward Dadachandji himself took me inside the Qibla of the Vacha Gandhi Fire Temple where I had completed my Martab ceremony. That was my first access inside the sanctum sanctorum of a fire temple. And what he told me is that the first thing that I should do after exiting the Vacha Gandhi compound was to go to the boys' fire temple and put sukkar inside the Qibla, the sanctum sanctorum. And that is when I first entered the sanctum sanctorum of the boys' fire temple, put the sukkar in the morning as soon as I finished my martab. And over a period of time, I learnt exactly how the boys' ceremony is performed, and I make it a point now, from time to time, at least once a month, to go there and perform the boy ceremony myself. And that itself is a divine experience connecting with the divine, because you yourself are doing something which very few people get the privilege to do, to enter into the Qibla and tending to the holy fire yourself. So that in itself is an experience connecting with the divine, which I thought I should share with all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Agyaris and Atash Behrams are in that sense the heartthrob of our religion. And as a community, we are privileged to have so many Agyaris and Atash Behrams in our vicinity. Many a times, many of our colonies and bags are fortunate enough to have Agyaris within the compound of that particular colony. And a question which I ask myself many a times, a regular day has 1,140 minutes. Can we not spare 10 minutes a day to visit a fire temple which is so accessible, which is completely in our vicinity? Can we not spare 10 minutes? Are we so busy to spend 10 minutes a day visiting a fire temple? The question always comes, what about the youth? How do we ask them to do it? I don't think it is something which can be preached. But when they see the parents, the teachers, they want to emulate. So that is something perhaps we can do by our actions rather than our words. And there is a lot to feel proud about. Our community would be perhaps what 0.00001% of the Indian population. But why is it so that be it any business, any profession, you will see Parsi, Irani, Zoroastrian at the helm of the affairs, at the top of it, be a doctor, be it lawyers, be it businessmen. Why is it so? It is perhaps because of a value system which has been passed on from generation to generation. And values such as integrity and honesty, which have been come to be associated with the Parsi Zoroastrian community. If you were to go out in the public domain, the very fact that you are a Parsi Irani Zoroastrian elevates your position in the hearts and the minds of the ordinary Indian. And that is a tremendous mark of respect. But not only that, it is a responsibility for all of us to live by those values and to ensure that these values are ingrained in our youth and it passes on from generation to generation. That is something which we all have the responsibility to perform, and it is each and every individual who is capable of contributing. It is not always thinking about how can I benefit from my community, but what is it that I can do for my community is a thought which can resonate in each of your minds. And just look at the examples here in your presence. We have Dasturji Keki Rauji, when I was amazed at hearing 68 Nirangdins. You know what a Nirangdin ceremony entails. Perhaps I must tell you, it is about spending 18 days performing one Nirangdin. Can you imagine the kind of discipline and rigor that goes into it? He has performed 3,000 Vandidas. Now, Vandidad is a ceremony which takes almost the entire night to perform. I have performed one when I basically went through my Martab ceremony. I know how much time, how much energy, and how much discipline it takes. And it is commendable that this individual, our Wadia Dasturji, has dedicated his life to performing so many, and he leads by example for all of us. We have Edward Ramyar Karanja, who through his scholarly knowledge, he is one of the most renowned scholars of our religion. And I have had the privilege of going with him to Iran on a 15 to 20-day tour, where every day in the morning when we used to go in the buses, I used to ask him several questions pertaining to our religion, and he used to answer them with utmost simplicity and clarity. Today, he is passing down this knowledge to our youngsters at the Athornan Institute, for which he is doing a commendable job, and he deserves a round of applause. We have individuals like Mr. Kersi Limatwala and Mr. Hanos Patel, who takes the pains to organize gatherings like this. It is not easy to do that. You are, in that sense, the focal point of organizing these gatherings. Many of you would also be aware of the Awa Yazat Parab event at the Radio Club, which Mr. Kersi Limatwala personally organizes. I've been part of some of his organization endeavors, and I see that he is involved from every little stage of planning to the final culmination of the event. So a round of applause for Mr. Kersi Limatwala and Havnos Patel. Ladies and gentlemen, each of us individuals have a role to play, and we can, in that sense, contribute. There are many things which are said about the survival of our religion, but I firmly believe that it is gatherings like this which instill us with complete confidence and belief that our religion will not only survive, but it will continue to thrive for all times to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edward Zeric Dastur. That was so positive. We have our last speaker now, who is our course participant, but she is a legal consultant, a law professor, a mentor for entrepreneurs, trainer, writer, social worker, and most of all, an extremely loving and lovable human being. Ladies and gentlemen, Azmin Kasab for us.
So I'm the one who's in between your meal, and I'll try to make it as short as possible. Most respected Vada Dasturji, Keki Raoji, Mejirana, Chairman of this trust, Mr. Kersi Limatwala, Dr. Edward Ramyar Karanjia ji, Course Director, fellow trustee of the trust, Hanos Patel, Advocate Zeric Dastur, Dr. Vispi Joki, and all the pilgrims on this spiritual journey that we are all undertaking today and in this life. I woke up early one morning and rushed right into the day. I had so much to accomplish that I didn't have time to pray. Problems just tumbled about me, and heavier became each task. Why doesn't God help me? I wondered. He said, "My child, you didn't ask." I wanted to see joy and beauty, but the day toiled on grey and bleak. I wondered why God didn't show me. He said, "But you didn't seek." I tried to come into God's presence. I used all my keys at the lock. God gently and lovingly chided, "My child, you didn't knock." I woke up early this morning and paused before entering the day. I had so much to accomplish that I had to find time to pray. So, dear friends, we've all been talking for the last couple of hours or so on how to connect with divinity and why it is important to connect with divinity. What do you feel when you have connected with divinity? A sense of peace. And what does prayer give to us? A sense of peace. So the first thing that I believe in is the ABC of life. To always be careful. Be careful of what you do and what you don't do, because that affects how you connect with divinity. When you start your day with prayer, you are conversing with God. We also heard that another way of connecting with divinity is meditation. What is meditation? It's when God connects with you. Meditation isn't your conversation, it is His conversation with you. And there are various means of meditating. One of the easiest way of doing it is closing your eyes and picturing the beautiful flame of Apakatispacha. Let it be before your eyes, let it travel all over your organs, your senses, your entire anatomy. And when you're done with it, let it spread to your family and to the universe. Suddenly, you will notice as you do this on a regular basis, your connection with the divine and the divine spark in everyone you interact with, whether it is human or nature, will see a profound change. Another way of connecting with the divine, and that is why we say ABC of life is always be careful. The DEFG is don't ever forget God. How do we never forget God? By doing our self audit. We don't have to explain to anybody when we do our self audit. It's something we check daily within ourselves. That constant integrated awareness that we have, and we should be true to ourselves about it. Did we say our daily prayers? Did we spend a couple of minutes meditating? Did we serve others with selflessness and not with the goal to achieve some grandeur, some CSR benefit, or some photographs? When you see God in another human being and you serve that person, in the eyes of that person, you become God. It's often said that when you help another human being, God is using you as His instrument to fulfill that person's prayer. Participation in our community activities is a great way of seeing goodness all around you. And God is nothing but good. We also heard that God is love. In the course of today's prayers, in the course of today's speeches, if I'm not mistaken, it was Dr. Edward Ramyar Karanjia who mentioned it. And I was reminded at that instant of the song that I was taught in my school. And if you would just please allow me to say a few lines of it. It goes something like this. God is love, and we who live in love live in God and God in us. So that is such a beautiful reconfirmation of the very aspect of God which was told to us, that God indeed is love. And the more love you spread, whether it is to people in your family, whether it is to your pets, whether it is to the strays around you, whether it is to nature, which is God's creation, you are nothing but connecting with Him itself. I would also, having gained personally from the course myself, urge everyone to attend and listen to talks by spiritual scholars. Our religious class, our structured religious class, is one of the countless examples within our community. Through the week, whether you flip the Jame or the Parsi Times, you will come across numerous religious talks, opportunities which are there in various Agyaris. Do try to attend them. They will act like a balm for whatever problems you are probably going through, and they will furnish you with answers for the doubts and the difficulties that you have in your life. Somebody already mentioned, and I totally concur with it, a little bit of reading spiritual literature or books. We have so much content available to us on a weekly basis in our newspapers, which come because we have scholars that write for us. And that itself will help us to connect with divinity and to understand our religion better. I won't take you away from your dinner much longer because a lot has been said that I had planned to say already. So without repeating much more of it, I'll just end by saying something different. It's again something I learned in my school, and it came to me when I heard Mr. Kersi Limatwala speak, that we invariably think of God in our difficulties. And one of the things that struck me then was Kabirji's Doha. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे होए. So on that note, let's remember to stay connected with the divine within us, outside of us, and in the universe, every day, every moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Azmin. May we now request Mr. Kersi Limatwala to present a small token of appreciation to ever Dr. Ramya Karanjia. Bakina, even a cook, even Kersi. Change of name, Mr. Hanos Patel to ever Dr. Ramya Karanjia. A token of appreciation to Advocate Edward Zerik Dastur. एक मिनट हाँ, बेचता ना to Azmin Kasar. Dr. Wispy Joki. And of course to our chief guest, Wadia Dasturji, Keki Raoji, Meljiran. Thank you, chief guest, guest speaker, Chairman trustee, co-trustees, our wonderful audience. With this, we come to an end of our program. Thank you very much and God bless. I'm going to go with